Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Daily Footy and Other Sports with yours truly, Taz, and of course, Sean, the lunatic. Hey, if we say that enough, they might stick that nickname. I really hope you enjoyed yesterday's episode, first episode with some of our good old chums calling in. We absolutely loved it, first and foremost. Great opportunity to speak to people and hear their views and hear their insight and their side of things. We're definitely going to be doing loads more of that, I think, in the upcoming days and weeks, of course. But yeah, everyone, please comment, please subscribe, and like this video when it comes out, of course. We've got a few more different topics to talk about though today, haven't we?
Yeah.
Literally right before we came on, we basically saw some updates on the Tour de France and how they're pondering maybe letting it still go ahead, but at the same time doing so without any members of the public alongside. Obviously makes sense given the current situation, but we've had a similar sort of discussion with other sports. Do you think they should still go ahead with it?
So I'd like to first ask a query to you because you know more about the Tour de France than myself.
Okay.
So it's a whole season of different areas, just like in tennis. You obviously we've got Wimbledon. You play also Miami in different parts of the world. However, Tour de France is part of the whole season, and the season is going to be delayed regardless because Italy has also announced recently that they are postponing their event. So it seems a bit a peculiar situation. We've spoken about other sports where they've had to actually delay it. This event is meant to be scheduled before the Olympics as well, although Olympics has got more venues in different regions as well. It's also important to announce that the Tour de France is part of a season in which these very gifted riders go to different parts of the world and compete in different areas. One place in particular is in Italy, in which they compete in the Giro Italia race, and that has thank you. That's recently been postponed. The spring break's been postponed to possibly September and October. So I'm interested why they would even consider having the event, and it was not going to end the season by any means necessary. I understand that the situation is a lot worse in Italy than throughout the world, and people think everything could catch up. So it may be a means of delaying the what's going to actually happen at the end, that they will postpone it towards the end. It's just what the French minister has suggested, that they may have it towards that time. But as you said, yeah, I'll get you to say her name just in case. But it just seems weird. It's not going to affect the season. What time? If it's not going to end the season, and the season's going to happen no matter what, it's going to finish or it's going to continue in October or September. So it would be safer just to delay it towards that time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very valid point. I think the dilemma that you're going to see with, and you're seeing already actually with a lot of these sports, is they don't want to put off their blue ribbon events. You could see like Tokyo was trying to wait as long as possible to postpone the Olympics. Wimbledon is expecting to make a similar decision very soon, but they're trying to wait as long as possible. Tour de France is probably the blue ribbon cycling event, and they're probably trying to wait as long as possible. And similarly, what other events are there? World Snooker Championships, that's been moved potentially, whereas the others I suspect have just been outright cancelled. I don't think they're thinking about rescheduling in the same way. Like with the Premier League, for example, the expected resumption date would be, would be the 30th of April. So, yes, your birthday. But I think what they're trying to do, but they're not actually. They obviously would be planning and playing the remainder of the matches, but they're not trying to start with the next match that would have been on the calendar. They're basically carrying on with the matches that they'd have been showing anyway around that time. You see, and then they would have probably caught up the other matches afterwards, and that's one thing I noticed. But you're not going to get that with everything. Well, no, actually, no, I say that, but no, they are doing that, really, aren't they? But yeah, so
yeah.
But 100%. I mean, I just think who was it that did it? It was Roxana Maricinu. I hope I've said that correctly.
Yeah, that's her name. Yeah, that's her name.
Yeah, it's a mouthful, that one. But
yeah,
but I think that's is a really tricky decision to make, because obviously you can argue that cyclists are literally just zipping by. So, but fans, certainly on the Tour de France in particular, they can be really in your face, you know, and they really, some of them are quite aggressive towards some of the riders that they may feel have done something wrong or whatever, you know, and when they're goading people or when they're trying to urge them on, they get super close to them. But what I saw is about a month or so ago, they actually were in the middle of I think it was like the Tour of UAE, I think it was. But halfway through, they just had to sort of cancel it. And the reason for that is because one or two riders started picking up the symptoms. So why are you risking it again? Why do it?
Exactly. And it's a very good question there. You have to also think about the athletes themselves, and we want to be a cheerful host of people here, trying to make everybody happy. But these sportsmen, when they go for the long ride of riding their bikes, they need to make sure that the oxygen tanks at the best possible. And you're going to be breathing air, and this coronavirus unfortunately affects people's lungs. So if you are trying to risk their health in order to be able to compete, you're going to not only put. I'm going to go and talk in a sports sense, not about a more ethical sense about their health, but you're not going to respect their full optimal ability in order to perform, and it's going to take away the ability, the whole event and extravaganza in the first place.
Yeah. Plus, when you think about it, what about the people who pick up the symptom but don't realize it until they're on the road for the first time? If it starts affecting their breathing, which is paramount to their cycling, and they're on a mountain stage of the race, you're not just at risk of you know, sliding off to the side. You go too far in one direction, it's curtains in general. And you know, it's only when you watch these races that you realize just how incredibly good these cyclists are. They are zipping downhill. You know, it's funny that when they're cycling, it's hardest to go uphill, but at the same time, it's also the safest to go uphill, because they're putting a lot of effort and work into it, but they can stay in the middle of the road and it's fine. But when you're going downhill, the hardest thing to do is trying to maintain a decent speed but not go too fast, because if you're going too fast, you just lose control. But imagine, a scenario where either going uphill or downhill, you just don't have the breathing ability, or it's just really way too risky. And then you've got to think past the whole public element. You've got to think what the rider's going to feel, and it's just not a good idea, I don't think.
The air gets thinner, and then it's going to get...
Absolutely, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I was just thinking physical work rate, but yeah, absolutely. The closer you get to the mountains, the harder it is to breathe anyway. But yeah, so...
I've been reading up... Yeah. I'm a big fan of one particular rider called Robert Jesnick. He's been posting his particular training regime of he's just cycling on his balcony, looking at his at Vienna, looking at all of his lovely mountains around. But again, that's also a point is that it's not going to help these riders who have to race. Say if they do race at the Tour de France, and then they have to wait all the time to Giro d'Italia, their performance levels will not be the same, because your body, it's not the same as training and then actually being at the venue itself.
Absolutely. I mean, it's oh, can I also just say very quickly before I forget, I know this is going to be posted on the Friday, but I really hope a lot of you guys, if possible, have taken a moment or two out of your time Thursday, i.e. today, for us at 8 p.m. Just to pay a little bit of sort of love and respect to the NHS workers, because obviously they've been doing an incredible job right now, and yeah, I know there's going to be a bit of a sort of a thank you going on at 8 o'clock, so hashtag clap for our carers. I think that's the hashtag going around at the moment. So yeah, just wanted to drop that in there. Bit of a emotional one.
I think definitely. I said spoke about one of our followers. He's a support worker. He cares for the vulnerable, disabled people, and he said when he went to prep one day, he got his discount, but the way the sales, it's incredible. And then just one more point to elaborate on the NHS in particular. A few months ago, when there was general elections happening, a lot of the MPs were probably not to respect, didn't really appreciate the contribution that nurses and other roles, health workers are able to contribute. Because people just think about dentists or doctors. Something I had to experience in dental school, where while I was would treat patients, there were some people think that nurses don't understand as well. But then you see that what the nurse, without the dental nurse, I wasn't able to perform on the patients. So the same case there. Now we're seeing it's vital that we respect every position, health worker. Without a single person, the teamwork goes away. And it's just like in sports, you need everyone contributing together. So
absolutely,
great.
And not necessarily. I mean, a lot of these amazing people are putting their lives on the line on a day-to-day basis at the best of times, where they're having to basically have to do it regardless. At the moment, they're actually having to put their life at risk just to sort of try and help everyone else. So huge love and admiration for them. I mean, we've both got friends and family members who are connected in some way directly to the NHS. So so I think amazing job. Keep it up, guys, and hashtag clap for carers.
I should have gone to med school instead of dental school after all, to help everyone. You can't help people drilling teeth. I'm joking.
Right. A few of you may have seen the start of our last video as well, where we had a quick mention for Tom Brady in his move to from the New England Patriots to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But literally, right after he made his move, it was announced by the Carolina Panthers that Cam Newton was being released. Now, Sean's obviously asked me to sort of assist him with this one. I mean, Cam's a quality quarterback, but he is 30, so I think he's probably the right age to have one really, really big move. It would be easy to drop Tom Brady's name in again, but at the same time, Tom Brady's a special player. So, but just to give you some context, I mean, he was the NFL MVP in 2015 after he led the Panthers to the Super Bowl. It was Super Bowl 50, but they lost to the Denver Broncos. But he's had injuries, in the last couple of seasons.
Did you see what he said? I think the best thing to say is that, as he said, despite what he's done in 2015, he felt he's given a more detailed emphasis why he left Tom Brady. He just say straight outright, they gave up on me. This is a huge statement to say about a player that has given many years to the team, to the franchise. And then, as he said, he's had an injured history, and then no reciprocal appreciation.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I've got one of an Instagram comment he had up, which is basically him saying, announcing a potential trade. He said, "Please do not try and play me or manipulate the narrative and act like I wanted this. You forced me into this." I mean, strong words. I mean, he's been there for a very, very long time.
Exactly.
I believe. How long was he there? 9 years with the franchise.
Yeah.
Being massive football fans, you and I are probably going to say, well, 9 years, if you get that kind of dedication from a footballer these days, it's incredible. Here we've got two players who've spent 20 and 9 years at the same team. It's unheard of. I think it's fair to say that I think he probably started his career at the Panthers. He would have been about 21. Tom Brady was about 22 when he was playing with the Patriots initially. So these guys have been there for a very, very long time. So
it's funny you just said that. It's quite funny. He's linked to go to the Patriots as well. So it's a bit of a Tom Brady link there already. Like maybe they want to get rid of Tom Brady because they heard about the possibility of Newton. I know different position. I'm not too aware of their positions, but it's just an interesting thing about budgeting as well. You need certain players. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, a lot of people are on these sort of various caps, and quarterbacks are very often the MVP come the Super Bowl, aren't they? I mean, I watched the Super Bowl. I thought it was one of the best I've ever seen. Pat Mahomes just kept on just slipping up, and it was just very much unlike him. I think I saw two really critical errors for someone like him.
Who thought that would happen? Who thought that? No one thought that would happen. It was bizarre.
Well, it was his first Super Bowl, so you always question whether they've got the ability to show up when it really matters. And as football fans, how much criticism was always directed at Cristiano Ronaldo, and then he did back it up and turn up. And then that automatically quietened the doubters, and all of a sudden this conversation between whether it was Messi or Ronaldo was extra heated. Before it was just, it's obviously Messi, but now it's just, then it became, okay, he's now starting to really compete well with him now. And it was a juicy old affair. But I mean, I've been doing a bit of research into the various trades and things like that. There seem to be quite a few quarterback trades going on. Carolina, for example, have actually picked up who did they pick up? They picked up Teddy Bridgewater, apparently, who was a free agent after he was the highest paid backup quarterback last season with the New Orleans Saints. So there must be a decent amount of quality in him. To get paid as much as he probably did.
Exactly.
But there've been a few other backup transfers, really. I mean, we've got Phillip Rivers, who's joined the Colts after 16 years with the LA Chargers, and the Jacksonville Jags have traded Nick Foles, who was the Super Bowl 52 MVP, to the Chicago Bears. But it just tells you. I mean, I wasn't expecting so many quarterback trades to start going around, but yeah, that's exactly what's been going on. We just thought, for those of you who had obviously been keeping track of the NFL, this is not new news to you, but for those of you who watch it loosely or maybe just watch the Super Bowl, I'm sure you're aware who Cam Newton is, just because you would have seen him, a couple of years ago anyway. But we just thought it would be important to sort of mention, him moving teams. I mean, obviously he's a very, 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 very good player.
Yeah.
So
it's like Neymar. It's like if Neymar was to move somewhere, he may not be in the same caliber as Tom Brady, but like Tom Brady being the Ronaldo, for example. But if Neymar, we've heard the speculation of Neymar possibly returning to Barcelona from PSG. So it's just the same thing. Another transfer is happening. We would have to elaborate on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Conveniently, you've brought us on to football, which is going to be our next topic. And before we actually sort of discuss the person we were going to sort of talk about, I think it's very important that we very quickly mention an update once again that we saw literally right before we came on.
Thursday. On
Do you want
Thursday,
to
so
take
this
this
is today. We can both talk about it because it's just breaking news that was revealed literally 4 o'clock, I believe, on Thursday.
Something like that,
You
yeah.
can take,
Yeah, maybe about 5ish, yeah, 5 p.m.
yeah. So basically, there's such a huge debate of whether the season should continue or end. So unfortunately, for some teams that are not part of the official top four leagues, they have now been deemed that their seasons will no longer be seen or be able to continue, and that does actually affect a lot of teams financially. And there's one high-profile team that were relegated from League Two last season that were going to lose their parachute payment, the topic we spoke about before, Barnet. And the way they were managed meant that they were so reliant on regaining promotion, they're out of their playoff spot, and that wouldn't have counted anyway because the season has ended. They're out that playoff spots, and that means they have to get rid of everyone, including their manager, non-playing staff, and they just they barely afford their players that as it is. So, what is your take on that, my brother?
Your brother. It's it leaves a bitter taste in the mouth, if I'm honest. Well, you know what? The thing is, you're stopping them from playing football, and for a lot of these guys, it's one of their only or best ways of actually getting income in. And they know they definitely won't be doing anything else now until the new season starts or a delayed season starts. But they aren't doing it for the higher leagues. I mean, one thing that we have to appreciate is that it costs money to maintain stadiums. All this time that the people are spending away from stadiums, there's going to be a lot of money that's going to be required to keep it in good shape. If you're being told you don't go near the stadiums right now, it's going to be a lot of grass to cut, for example. It ain't going to be the players that does it. It's going to be the support staff that does it. It does make you think, what? Are they going to even consider doing the same sort of boycott for the higher leagues? I mean, and so at what point would you feasibly say, I think we should probably cut off this season and then start a new one? At what stage?
So this is actually a fascinating topic because not too long ago, Sunday and Monday, Rio Ferdinand and Gary Neville both gave opposing insights of their point of views of this very topic. Rio thinks the season should end. Gary Neville thinks it should continue. I've always will stick to the point that if you take away the ending, the conclusion of a season, it takes away the meaning of what you're fighting for, the value of why you're going for it. I know there's a virus and you want to stick with schedules, but it takes away the value of fighting for something, the rights for each position, because it takes away a lot of legitimacy and it just causes a lot of errors. And I want to point another point that makes you elaborate on talking about when the non-league sides can resume. We do not know when the season will resume in the first place. So it could be us saying, they can come back in August. No, the season may not start again the next season may not be in August? Or do we expect the other side to just resume? That's another question to ask. And these players aren't bad, by the way. For like 2010, just one more inside story. Woking, they actually hosted an event in which a lot of Pakistani nationals from all over the world were invited to represent the nation of Pakistan. Because what happens at Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh, they tend to only give players from the countries themselves that live in the country the chance to represent their those nations in FIFA tournaments. So it was a very big tournament. You can even check on Woking's website. Woking played Pakistan. My brother was the substitute goalkeeper. Woking demolished them. Some of them were semi-pro players, and when you saw these Woking players, it wasn't obviously they're playing not all professional players, but the preparation, them doing kickabout, the positioning, they are fantastic players. So we're not talking about poor players just because they're non-league players in the first place.
We're not talking about them as poor players, but I mean, you know what? Yeah. It's just this overprivileged nature of being in a higher league or a higher quality side and things like that. I mean, we can't obviously compare Woking to even sides like Leeds United, for example. It's a massive gap, isn't it? Both league-wise and quality-wise. So I think it's really important not to forget that. But I just think there's no doubt going to be a point where they sort of say, well, I just, if we can't resume, we just can't finish the season. And I mean, when we discuss the three scenarios, the one thing they can't do is just stop the season there and then. Because even though we may all unanimously agree that Liverpool are without question the best side in the league, what's going on below them is actually the more exciting part, certainly as a neutral fan. That's the more intriguing part. You know, who's going to get Champions League, who's going to get Europa League, who's going to get relegated, who's going to get promoted. You know, we may think that sides like Leeds and West Brom have probably sewn up top two, but we've also seen Leeds capitulate before. Derby are on the hunt, a few others might sneak in, and of course a few others might sneak into the playoff positions. So it's and you know, and the way they've also basically negated all the lower leagues, you know, anyway, they basically said there are no promotions, no relegations. I mean, if you're smack bang bottom of your league, you're thinking, I'm not sure I would have done this, but I'm not going to complain about it. You know, and if you're cruising to the title, you're devastated. You might not have the same level as you just had. I don't know. I just think there has to be a point where they sort of say, well, maybe August time if they can't get going again, or even August is the cut-off point that they'd expect to get it all done by mid-August. If they can't get it done, I just think they're going to have to. You just gonna have to scrap it. I hate to say it. Because if you can't continue it, you can't just end it where it is. As a United fan, you know, it would be great because City are probably going to get their ban and we're fifth. But if you're Sheffield United, who've got a game in hand, they would argue if they win it, then they'll be ahead of us. So it's a real balancing act, and you know there are only two realistic scenarios. The one you can't have is just leave it where it is. So you either have to scrap it and basically pretend like this hasn't happened, or you find a way or you basically see it out. But there has to be a point where they sort of say, well, time's up.
Take up the League Cup. Take up the League Cup the following season, because a lot of teams do complain about it. It does mean financial income, but that's it's a harsh reality that would at least for the top teams.
It's a couple of games though. when you're a top side.
Yeah.
It's not that big. It's not that big a dent. Yes, you can squeeze in an extra league game because it's in midweek, but it doesn't really leave quite as big a dent. You know, like constant European games. You know, 6 European games, that catches up with you, especially if you're in the Europa League when it's going to be Thursday to Sunday.
That might need to be scrapped as well. That's a possibility as well. Or because they've also suggested a mini tournament, or although they would have to settle the remaining last 16 fixtures.
It's easy to fix that one. That one's easy to fix because if you have, I think because they're trying to propose a 1-game shootout. If you've not played your first leg of the tie, and I know the Italian sides, I think coincidentally 2 Italian teams against 2 Spanish sides, they can just have a one-game shootout, and it can either be a toss of the coin whether they play in Italy or in Spain. Possibly, I'd say it's safer to play in Spain, but unfortunately their risks have really rocketed up as well, unfortunately. So it could be better playing in a more neutral venue. I don't know.
Can we? I thought I was focusing on the better quality, by the way, not your Europa League. I was focusing on the Champions League because Real. I'm joking. Well, continue. I'm joking.
I mean, the thing is, all I'm trying to, in this particular argument, I'm trying to focus on proximity of fixtures.
Yeah.
And you're going to have far less time to recover between Thursday and sometimes I think even Saturday. Thursday and Saturday is ridiculous. Thursday and Sunday, a bit more manageable, but Thursday to Monday makes the most sense. But yeah, I think if you haven't played your first leg, your tie, should just be a 1-game shootout. If you've just got your second leg to play, you play that. I know there are obviously some Champions League ties that need to play their second legs. But then from there on in, you just have
Barcelona,
1-leg shootout. Yeah, from there on in, you have a 1-leg shootout, and you have a toss of the coin which venue you're actually playing at. So I think that's probably the only way they can deal with
that. I'll give you another very good example because we can't just focus on the Premiership. I'll give you Middlesbrough are actually in a very good position of being above the relegation zone. However, the teams in the relegation zone have recently hit top form. Barnsley were bottom of the table.
Not as well. And you've gone the other way.
But exactly. And then we were dragged back into the relegation zone, and then we ironically won our last game, and we returned to a comfortable position. So I am saying, as you were saying about Wilder, it would be unfair on Wilder if Sheffield United, if they weren't able to have the opportunity of having a game on hand. I would also like to say that Barnsley, Wigan beat West Brom, who were top of the league at the time, and that helped them to jump out the relegation zone in the first place. Barnsley have been on an amazing form, including beating Middlesbrough, and so you spoke about teams being in the relegation zone, and it'd be unfair on them if the season was just to end. This is why a season needs to be completed, because teams go through laps of being bad and being good. Solskjaer's reign at Man United last season epitomizes that. He was arguably as good as Man City and Liverpool when he started. He was as good as them, 13 games unbeaten. And then, obviously, people go through patches. And ironically, when he went through the bad patch was around the time that if you were to go a year of, when coronavirus hit us in March, you guys started to go off the bandwagon around March as well. So imagine a side going through would not have the opportunity of having the same performance levels, and that shows how important. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like a team's form levels go ups and downs. If we were to end the season,
that's why it's called
coronavirus. If exactly, but if they say the coronavirus was to happen last season, imagine the impact it could have had, and how different the season would have been last season compared to the season having a chance to complete itself. Man United may have been deemed as better side.
Form is a wonderful thing. I mean, and I don't think there were many other sides aside from maybe Liverpool who had better form or a better run. In fact, you could argue United were on the best run of all because Liverpool were starting a bad run. So this postponement has come at a great time for them, but at the same time a bad time for them because they want to sort out the league title and get it done. Bad time for United fans because what a good run they were on, and we don't know what's going to happen next. Now, obviously, we've really strayed off topic.
Can I say one thing? I'm sorry I'm disturbing you. It's a funny joke as a Man United fan. You'll love this.
Oh God, it's debatable. Go on.
Liverpool fans saying we never walk alone. Since
actually,
30 years,
you'll never walk alone. But never.
Yeah. So, you're ruining the joke, but they always like to say that particular phrase. After 30 years up on the brink of winning the league, they forced us to walk alone because we're isolated.
Do you hear that, Sean? Do you know what that is? That's silence.
I've got one guy laughing.
Sorry. It's sorry guys. It's like working with a child, but but no, we were only supposed to touch on this topic briefly, but the main reason we wanted to discuss football today was just to very, very quickly sort of give a massive shout out to Lucy Bronze, who has been voted by the BBC fans, as it happens, as their Women's Player of the Year. I mean, she's been playing for Lyon for the last couple of years, and indeed I think has won the Champions League the last couple of years. Yeah. She keeps on making it into the World Cup team of the tournament. Outstanding once again last year. Brilliant right back. A lot of good right backs, both men and women at the moment.
Lyon were like the Real Madrid in the women's game, and that shows how good she is being able to contribute towards Lyon, because they were doing so good in the Champions League. They're demolishing the English clubs as well.
They're getting past them. I mean, it's hard. They're not demolishing them. I mean, the German clubs are actually very, very good as well, actually. I think Wolfsburg's quite a prominent side, weirdly enough. No, you wouldn't expect it, but they're really up there. But it's an absolutely incredible achievement. She's beaten off people who have been actual World Player of the Years. So this is obviously a BBC vote, but she's beaten off people who've got the world title and are world champions as well among them. So it's a credit to her, because I mean, you couldn't blame someone for voting for someone else, but she just continues to be an incredible professional, brilliant footballer, ridiculous engine. At the age of I read that she at 18 years old she was working in Domino's.
Really?
Look at her now.
Oh yeah.
Incredible. But yeah, didn't want to say too much about Lucy, but I just wanted to say a massive congratulations from us in the channel. Fantastic performances and incredible news.
So I think it's getting a bit fuzzy. I think the audio is getting a bit fuzzy. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. Just making sure. So it's going a bit fuzzy just there. Sorry.
Probably need to charge up your headphones or something. But we, aside from Lucy, I think Sean wanted to go on a bit of a wrestling.
Okay. Of course I do.
Remember the limit, Sean. You've got 10 minutes. So get everything in 10 minutes. Ready, set, go.
So basically, out of most sports in the world, there's one sport in Australia. Wrestling is continuing, and what happens every week on a Wednesday is the Wednesday Night Wars. So, despite the whole coronavirus situation, most internet fans love NXT or AEW, and they both continue to deliver great shows. So AEW had a great show itself. My brother here is an AEW fan in particular, I'm probably more of a WWE and NXT fan. But AEW started well. They had Cody Rhodes was brilliant. Started the match out, delivered a really good match. And in particular, I really liked Luke Harper's Brody's debut. He was lethal. He was devastating. And it looks like he's finally got the freedom of expressing himself. And I've really enjoyed watching him. Even when he revealed himself last week, his lariat clothesline is fantastic. He's a guy with so much ability where he can mix it up, do his drop kicks, he can do his rolling, he can do a lot of power moves. He's a guy that finally may have the opportunity of showing what he can do. And then AEW even ended with a good classic of two veterans of the game, Matt Hardy and one of the goats, Y2J. What did you think about that?
I'm not contributing anything to this conversation. We agreed on this. This is just going to be a Sean fest, and then we'll leave everyone alone.
No, but it was a very good to see Y2J and Matt Hardy, and to see these two big names with each other. It was actually quite good to see. You can agree on that, right?
It was okay.
Yeah,
but not really.
I even liked his commentary. I love Cody's commentary, by the way, as well. It was good how he started it as well with Tony Schiavone. It was brilliant, and providing a good a British homemade wrestler as well. That was fantastic to see. But now I'm going to shift gears towards NXT as well. I believe NXT.
I just want to quickly say that I just think because we've already discussed this, and
yeah,
I don't really think it should be going on to begin with. And when you don't have crowds, it just loses it. I mean, for example, WWE is just performing the Performance Center. Yawn.
Yeah. I know. I agree.
So
and same thing AEW. And
yeah.
It's funny, they're all together in the same state. They're all in Florida. The AEW's in Jacksonville, and NXT's Orlando. I believe that TNA is not far away as well.
Impact definitely started off, I think, in Florida. I don't know whether it moved back or something, but yeah, I think Florida seems to be the place. But,
yeah. And then I believe it was NXT actually was able to steal the show. We had a bro man, Matt Riddle versus Roderick Strong. That was a final match to conclude the whole event before. And these two are very talented, underrated fighters. Roderick Strong, he was able to win the triple threat on Survivor Series against arguably two of the best GOATs of NJPW, Nakamura and AJ Styles. He showed his cunningness and his ability to deliver in a tough match. And Matt Riddle was able to give a great match himself. I liked watching them two both deliver a high quality match. And I'd like to also say the way it ended as well, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, that was intense. You can see how intense it is between them two. And Triple H, if some people have said it, giving some memes that Triple H is the daddy of these two, but it was good to see how Triple H had to be like how UFC portrayed themselves as well when they got two the contestants are about to compete against each other, facing off with each other, and then the boss, like in this, not Dana White, although Triple H did look like Dana White at this time, he was just there to monitor the two fighters, and it gives a bit more realistic factor. And I guess that's one reason why a lot of the internet fans tend to like AEW or NXT instead.
AEW haven't thrown away the chairs. That's probably the reason. Yeah, you must lightly tap a guy on the back of the shoulder. That's what WWE is about. But no, I mean, just actually sort of gonna say something to all you guys out there. Now, I know a lot of you are probably wrestling fans, like Sean in particular. If you would like, and I'm surprising Sean I say this, but if you'd like Sean to do some sort of assessment of the previous night's shows, or even do like a weekly summary of the various wrestling shows that have been going on, drop it in the comments, because I mean, I think he absolutely loves talking about wrestling. So if he basically did a video, I think maybe went out every Saturday or Sunday where he did the rundown of what's gone on in the previous week, and it's something that you guys would like to see, let us know. I'm sure Sean would love to do it. I've basically just thrown this on him. Would you be up for that, Sean, if they wanted to see it?
Let me tell you. Let me remind you guys a story I told you guys a few days ago. What is his name? What is this guy's name? There's a reason why he's called that particular name, or he's got such a cool name. That's the clue to it. I'm not sure if I should elaborate on that. He's got such a cool name, but he is nicknamed Taz for a reason. So I'm not the only hardcore wrestling fan. Hardcore 96 to 99. He was a hardcore fan of this particular guy. I think when a couple of nights when we used to go around to a pub called, he would actually walk around with a towel around his head.
Just answer the question. Would you be up for it? Simple question. Simple question.
Yes.
It just goes off.
Yes.
Okay.
And a lot of people will be able to join. Armand, who spoke yesterday, he would love to join that. And I know you would. A lot of people would love to join it because
I wouldn't necessarily do so, but I might pop in now and again. But I just thought it'd be really good if people are up for that. We can potentially have a weekly thing where you sort of talk about, the various shows that have gone on, from Raw to, I'm trying to think of the right order, but Raw to NXT to Impact,
he knows
Dynamite, and then SmackDown. I think I've got the order wrong, but it's something like that. SmackDown's the last one up, isn't it? Or is it Impact? But yeah, stick it in the comments, guys, if you really want to see Sean make a fool out of himself. A video with basically him just giving you the rundown of what's been going on the previous week, and his opinions and thoughts about it. Let us know, and if we can get, I don't know, how many people do we want to say? If we can get 100 of you to say yes to it, then we'll definitely start doing it. So either give us 100 likes if you don't want to comment, or just put it in the comments that you want to see it, and then we'll get Sean on it. I'm sure he'll be delighted to do it on a Saturday or Sunday for you guys, and might even do it live. But I think conveniently though that is probably a good place for us to end. Just to give you all a bit of a taster of what to expect tomorrow. Calm down. We have obviously been talking earlier on about what they're going to do with the Premier League, but Sean and I were having a chat earlier on, and we thought it would be really good to talk about potential managers of the season. I think it's pretty clear who the two front runners are going to be, and I'm sure everyone's going to have their differing opinions. But
Woodgate.
No, well, he'll be in different leagues, so it'll be another problem for you. But to basically, it's effectively going to be a show tomorrow dedicated to Klopp versus Wilder. The two of us are going to basically try throwing both sides of the argument into the mix, and if we can, we're going to try coming to a decision on who we feel should be the manager of the season. So we're not going to give anything away, but from Sean and myself, we will end it here for the moment, and we will see you guys in the next video. All right, peace out, guys.
Hi guys.
Hey everyone. So Sean and I have just recorded our video, and we both discovered that, similar to what happened a few days ago, neither one of us are appearing on the video this time. So we just wanted to apologize for that hash up, and we don't really understand how it's happened. Hope you guys can forgive us for this, and yeah, please enjoy the video.